Ekai here again. Second installment about the fall practice period, the heart of Zen. Today I want to talk about the opening Zazenkai one-day meditation retreat. I'm hosting this particular retreat, and I think it's really a special opportunity because so many of you listening to this have been through the Mondo Zen facilitation process. So you've been through Koan 11, 12, and 13. Okay, and so it's like, can anyone shame you or make you disconnect or um, you know, and then you find your way to creating emotional koan. What I've learned since I developed the Mondo Zen facilitator program, and as I started to notice that there's a way in which we can sort of stretch out emotional koan work to actually help us really embody the lessons involved. And so what that looks like is the first phase is to actually really take the time to welcome in the emotional expression. So, I mean, you can use the basic idea of shikantaza, just be with, but the idea is a little bit more than that, which is, well, it's not more than that. It's just applying that. It's sort of saying, you know, really welcome in the emotional experience. That requires not just a receptivity to a triggered state of feeling, it actually is also one where we need to attune with it. So we attune with it through our sensing. What senses are arising with this feeling of anger? What feelings arise when I feel triggered this way? What does it feel like in my body? How is it affecting my thoughts? So we start by welcoming in the actual emotional experience. That's a practice. Okay, that's just not like an instantaneous thing. Okay, so the next piece that we might want to consider is, who is this? What do you mean, who is this? Okay, well, I mean, who are you? Who am I at this level of awareness? Well, not knowing, I don't know. Yes, but that's not the emotional level awareness. That's the Zen transcendent level awareness. At the emotional level of awareness, this is a part of me. So internal family systems suggest that when I'm triggered, I am one of my younger selves is actually taking over the ship. It's like, oh, huh. I mean, I just got back from a retreat, and the part of me that expressed itself the most was what I call grief man. I mean, grief man is a term I get from Robert Bly, from Iron John, but that's what I call that particular part, and that's the part that is experience a certain amount of historical grief or current grief in my life, and so I can say, "Hi, who are you?" Right, and I know who I am. So welcoming it in, who am I? Which part? Because ultimately we start to allow ourselves to be not just a unified self, but we can be parts that are in a choir that come together to be the unified sense of Ekai. Okay? Welcome. Who are you? And then I am you, I have to be you, or, this part serves a function. So I need to find out why are you here? Right? So I need to be you, I need to be angry because, listen to that. I start to understand that this voice serves a function. I learn this behavior as a strategy to make sense of my world at some other point in time. Okay, welcome, who and why are you here? How does you function? Then I can begin to ask the question of, if I allow myself not to be identified with you, what's that like? Okay, because we know from Zen, we know from Buddhist thought that we are not just our feelings. We're more than that or less than that, depending on how you want to look at it. But the point is that I'm not completely identifying my feelings. That's just a part of me that arises. And so I can ask myself to allow myself not to be identified with that part. You know, in a Mondo structure, excuse me, I lost my bell. What we often do is ring a bell. You can sink into the silence. And if we've been practicing and we've created that bell access point, which we do in Mondo, then it's easy to start to let go of that self, right? And clear, deep heart mind is more available. So, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's done, it's gone. It just means that, well, we're starting to disidentify with that self. So there's more work to be done. So in order to create an emotional koan that's going to be, allow us to more deeply find the transcendent opportunity of emotional koan work, it helps for us to do some work with welcoming. Who is this voice? Who is this part? How do you serve me? What's you're here for? If I allow myself not to be identified, what am I feeling? I have to be identified with you because you serve a sort of function. And we do a little work. And so we can always ask this series of questions. And so then what happens if we do this kind of work is that not only is our emotional koan work become something that we can use interpersonally, meaning when I get irritable because something arises, I get triggered by someone's actions, I have a method for actually pausing and dropping and sinking in and then now responding from clear, deep heart mind, from a universal awareness of compassion. I also have a method for listening to that part. And this really comes up when I'm in my meditation practice on the cushion. Okay, on the cushion, what we often find, particularly at certain stages of samatha practice, samatha being concentration practice, right? That parts get in the way. So as I sort of said on this retreat that I just came back from, the most common voice to sort of disrupt my meditation was grief man. So here I do it again. I use the same method. I'm sitting there concentrating on my breath, or I'm concentrating on the bell, or whatever I'm concentrating on, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to notice sadness arising. I'm starting to notice thoughts of regret. I do the same thing. I welcome. I ask who it is. I'm kind of familiar who it is. And then I go through that same sequence of finding out what the function is, learning about it, understanding it, feeling it in my body and my sensations and my feelings and my thoughts, attuning to the me that is now present. And then I'm ready to allow myself to not be identified with this person. Not getting rid of it. I'm just recognizing that I'm not identified with this. That's not all of me. It's just a part. And then usually I'll go back to my meditation. So on October 13th, that's a Sunday, we will be doing a one-day retreat. That's from 9 a.m. Eastern time to 5 p.m. And we will practice. We will be doing Zazen. We will be doing Zazen practice with my pointing out instructions. But we will be spending at least half the time, if not more of the time, working with these emotional koan practices in order to give you this technique of being able to work with your emotions both on the cushion and off the cushion. So it really is digging deeper into emotional maturity and emotional development, and allowing this to actually allow you to become more embodied, to become more understanding of the self, the selves that are here, that are in each one of us, so that you can now be more comfortable releasing these identities, which allows you to be more present. And this is all done in a supportive community, so we will be able to practice together. And so I invite you to come and join me. So I thank you very much.